Hello, Luminary. We have a Taurus New Moon coming up on Friday, May 19th, 8:53 a.m. Pacific, 11:53 a.m. Eastern. And you know what? You might have been hearing from other astrologers that this Taurus New Moon is all wonderful and abundance and luck and joy and money and prosperity. Well, yes, and you're going to have to prove it. I'll tell you why, so listen up. Welcome to Star-Powered Astrology for Changemakers. I'm Leslie Tagorda, your guide, a Hawaii-born Filipino-Jewish astrologer who loves navigating visionaries like you through the spiritual journey of your work so that you can be inspired to lead by your chart and become the luminary leader you were born to be. Hey everybody, Leslie Tagorda here. Welcome to another episode of Star Powered, where today I'll be talking all about the new moon in Taurus. Well, it's not just me because this is a special and repurposed episode, a conversation with me and the magical Natalie Miller. Natalie Miller and I have been known to collaborate before. We have written a book on new moon rituals for leadership and change makers back in 2022. And Natalie is just like the most amazing Pisces rising coach who has a fabulous podcast, Time Witchery. If you don't already know Time Witchery, this is definitely one that you will want to follow and subscribe to. She is absolutely amazing. Well, Natalie invited me to speak about the new moon in Taurus and then the following full moon in Scorpio that we have in a couple of weeks afterwards. But we are repurposing this conversation. So she's letting me borrow our conversation from Time Witchery to share here with you. So I'll be sharing this episode. And after the episode, I want to share a little bit of house personalization. So, how can you personalize this new moon according to which house is being activated? I'll be sharing a little bit of those personalizations as well as answering a couple of questions that y'all had in my free Facebook group called Star Powered Podcast. So if you want to have a conversation with me, if you have questions, head on over to my free Facebook group where, go ahead and ask your questions. I love answering listener questions, and that is one of the easiest ways to get in touch with me. Lastly, what I wanted to say about this new moon, Natalie and I go through so much about just the astrology of this new moon. We have a gigantic Taurus stellium with Jupiter, North Node, Mercury, Uranus, the Sun, and the Moon all in Taurus. And then with Jupiter, who just entered Taurus, still at that 0 degree mark, making a T square with Pluto and Mars. Now, I absolutely love T squares, and I've already been seeing this show up in my client readings and client charts. And if you happen to be a beholder of a T square in your natal chart, a T square is where there's two planets that are opposing each other, and then another planet forming a square to those opposing planets. And it looks just like a 90-degree triangle, a half of a square. That's why it's called a T square. Now, these T squares have tremendous amounts of energy. They take action. And this kind of new moon, whatever your intention is, if it's all about money or prosperity or wealth or values, this T square is really asking you to prove what you are worthy of. So when we're talking about Taurus, we are definitely talking about money, but more than money, we're talking about values. What do you value? What will you measure? What will you create capacity to cultivate and receive more of? Sometimes it's not just about the money. It's really also cultivating the things that you value, whether this is time or freedom, maybe these are vacations or buying a home. Whatever this is, all of those values, your personal values, your social values, this is what Taurus New Moon is really asking you to get to the root of, to create more of. And this T square with this Taurus moon isn't just about waiting and wishing for your intentions to happen, but to prove your worth, that you are worthy and deserving of what you ask for. Okay. And to prove your worth means to take dedicated action towards what you want. Okay. So that's really what I really want you to know about this upcoming new moon. But for now, I want you to luxuriate in this conversation with me and the one and only Natalie Miller. And then stay on and listen. I'll be sharing some new moon personalization so you can look through your houses, find out where that 28 degrees of Taurus is in your house, in your natal chart, so you know how to direct your new moon intention. And then I'll share a little bit more, some questions and answers from community members. All right, here's the conversation with me and Natalie.
Hello, my love. Here comes another new moon. We have another new moon tomorrow. It just turns out we keep going round and round and round. And I'm so excited to have on today a dear friend.
Hi, Natalie. Thank you for having me here to talk about the things that we love to talk about most, astrology.
The things we love to talk about most. Yes, Leslie and I love talking about astrology so much. We wrote a book together about it. It was a very 2022 book because it was about those lunar cycles. Although I will say, Leslie, there is a lot of timeless shit in there. There is some timeless wisdom in there.
So much good stuff. Maybe one day we'll come back to it when the time is right.
Maybe one day we will come back when the time is right. So, Leslie is a genius. Leslie is an astrologer. Leslie is a multiracial, completely committed to making this world better brand strategist. Leslie is a mama and a musician and this delightful multiplex being. And I'm so grateful to call you my friend. What did I miss?
Oh my goodness. I feel like you totally saw like the prism of all of my facets.
It's my specialty.
Yes.
So, Leslie, we are here to talk about this next lunar cycle. We're here to talk about the new moon in Taurus that is May 19th. However, we will still be in the eclipsey window. And so I'm just kind of curious to start there. Like, what has this eclipse season been about for you?
Whew, this past eclipse season, I feel like everything has just been like building and building and building for us. And, I don't know if some of your listeners or clients tend to get freaked out by like, oh no, the sky is falling. We're going to have another eclipse. Oh no, Pluto is retrograde. Oh no, Mercury is retrograde.
Mm.
And I feel like all of these eclipses, like if we go back to the first eclipse, the new moon solar eclipse at Aries of 29 degrees, then we have Mercury retrograde, then we had this Scorpio eclipse. Like all of these were taking us on this like roller coaster ride through making a bet on ourselves, on our best selves, coming face to face with scarcity mindset. That Scorpio eclipse, like that total like spiritual detox, like I'm going to be potty mouth a little bit, but like feeling that liberation in your body after you've taken like the biggest, most massive dump.
The best feeling. The best feeling. Just like,
Yes.
I didn't need any of that.
Did not need any of that fear, shame, guilt. So like those like three events that are leading us up now to this newest lunation of this Taurus new moon. Like Taurus wants to hoard stuff, right? Can we swear on this podcast? Like,
yeah.
okay. Like that Taurus energy, like left unchecked is like gonna like hoard shit. It's gonna overbuy courses, cheap trinkets, luxury bags, overeat,
H&M clothes, everything.
Fast fashion, right? And so we needed all of that purging because we need to make space for what we truly want so that we can feel full and satisfied. And this is something that I really like learned from you, Natalie, that idea of plentitude, satisfaction. So now we get this new moon in Taurus tomorrow as we time travel to May 19th. And we get to say, what do I want?
Mm-hmm.
What
What
makes
do
me feel
I
good?
want?
Yeah.
And we have Jupiter arriving in
Oh.
Taurus. It's like the new moon is happening and Jupiter like knocks on the door, is like, "Hello, I'm here." What do you make of that?
Let's go big. At the time of this Taurus new moon, we have Jupiter, North Node, Mercury, Uranus, and both luminaries all in Taurus.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a Taurus party.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want that makes you feel so good in your body? What feels good on your body? What is like that peacefulness? Like, what do you want to eat? What do you want to
Mm-hmm.
put in your body, on your body, around your body?
Totally.
And then Jupiter is like, go big,
Yeah.
take up
And
space.
totally. And also we have Venus in Cancer. So Venus is ruling the moon. Venus is in Cancer and Venus is like, "No, really, baby.
Yeah.
You deserve it. You need it. Like nurture, love." That's what I'm getting. Do you agree with this
Oh,
vibe?
totally. Because if you think of like Cancer, right, the divine mother, and Venus in Cancer, she is inviting you into her opulent home,
Mm-hmm.
and putting the fuzziest, warmest slippers on your feet and
Mm-hmm.
sitting you around her kitchen table so that we can connect and welcome you.
Mm-hmm.
What is like Venus and Cancer going to feed you? It's not going to be like a crudité plate. It's just going
Nope.
to be like, want some ice cream?
Right. Totally. Totally. Yeah. I actually have a great friend who does Taurus and she has a ton of Taurus, a ton of Cancer in her chart. And her home is just, I can't even describe. It's like every dish is so pleasant. Like every mug is a joy to hold. Every window has like a little plant and then a little rose quartz. It's like
Mm.
it's so beautiful and opulent, but not in a Trumpy way, right? It's
Oh,
like blah,
blah.
right. It's like deeply gorgeous, deeply sweet and like
Oh my
of the
goodness.
earth comforting.
I can imagine that her house also smells like just like fresh peonies, like the slightest waft of peonies from like a
Mhm.
very expensive like room
Mhm.
freshener,
Yeah.
not the cheapy room freshener, like the stuff that comes from
Yeah.
Europe.
Yeah. It's like her towels are really fluffy. Maria Cristina, if you are listening to this, you already know this, but like her towels are fluffy and you smell them and you're like, what possible detergent makes it smell like ever so slightly perfumed, but also like it's been dried in the sun? It's
Ooh.
just like it
Can we
was.
go to her house?
We all wanna go to her house. We all wanna go to her house. Okay, so that was a nice luxurious sidebar of the yumminess of this lunation.
Yeah.
All this Taurus energy ruled by a Venus in Cancer. I love this, like, what does your body want in it, around it, like, to be fed, to be immersed in? That's all gorgeous.
And what you said, like, you deserve this.
Mhm. Yeah. Like this nurturing is your birthright as a human.
But like
Yes. I know. I know. I was like, let's spend a lot of time there in the yumminess because also.
but the universe is asking you to stand up for what you deserve. It's not going
Mhm.
to just be like handed to you on a silver spoon.
Mhm.
This is literally you making a choice to speak up for what you want, to
Mhm.
empower yourself,
Mhm.
and at the utmost have the gratitude and belief and faith in yourself that you deserve this.
Mhm. Yeah,
That's a
especially
big but.
because, right? Especially because
Yes.
some of the bad boys, some of the some of the some of the tough ones.
You're like
Na
relaxing your
I know,
shoulders.
I'm like, let me stretch, let me stretch. Some of the tough ones, namely our friends Mars and
Yep.
Pluto,
Yep.
are also having a conversation in
Yeah.
this lunation.
They're facing off with each
Mhm.
other. Now, I feel like both you and I like to play with sharp objects.
Yeah. Yeah.
So to say, because we trust ourselves,
Right. I'm
right?
like, "Dear podcast producer, there's our audiogram right there. I think you and I both like to play with sharp objects." We do indeed, right? Because we like to cut away shit that's not working.
Yeah, and if your knife isn't sharp, it's not going to cut.
Totally. 100%. If you wanna cook, you're gonna need a knife, and it's gonna need to be sharp.
A good knife.
Yeah, a good knife, yeah. Alright, so we have some. We have some
Yeah,
knives.
we have some knives. So astrologically speaking, for those astro techies out there, we have what is called a T-square.
Mhm.
And you can visualize a T-square as like a right angle square, like a half of a right angle triangle, half of a square.
You know how I like to think about it too? I love to think about squares and T-squares as like a four-way intersection, where
Hmm.
it's like 3 cars are pulling up at the exact same time, and they have to spend a minute going, "Okay, who's
The right of
going?"
way. Yeah.
It's like they all have to kind of look at each other. And these 3 planets, it just turns out, like, aren't really the ones to kind of sit back and be and be
Ooh, no.
like "Oh, no, go ahead. Maybe Jupiter, but not even really," right? It's like, "Oh,
No.
go ahead." No, like, these guys are all, like, really wanting to go. So, what do you make of the kind of really the part of the opposition that is Mars at the anaretic degree of Cancer, the very last 29 degrees of Cancer, opposing our still brand new in Aquarius, Pluto?
Pluto. Yeah.
Yeah, what do you make of that,
Ooh,
Leslie?
this is fight energy.
Mhm,
This is face off energy.
mhm,
We don't have to be afraid if we understand what they're fighting for,
mhm,
right? And ultimately, to me, at least when I see oppositions and these squares, natally, or even just in a chart, there's so much energy, there's so much activation, and it pushes us. Like we need these squares, these oppositions to have the momentum to drive things forward. And a square is always asking you to make a choice.
mhm. I love that.
Like I don't believe it's integration, it's a choice, a
Yeah.
decision.
It's a choice, it's a decision. It is definitely the, like, to continue, the potty mouth, shit or get off the pot.
Don't be sitting
Like
there reading your phone.
like, are we doing this or not? And, I just wrote this question, Leslie, I hope you'll go with it too, but with Jupiter in the mix, right? Because we have Mars and Pluto across from one another, and then we have Jupiter in that kind of 3rd position.
Hmm.
So at 90 degrees from both of those planets, I think Jupiter, who's an idealist,
Hmm.
Jupiter, who's here for growth and learning and wisdom and expansion in that way. I think
Hmm.
Jupiter is like, so what is worth fighting for?
Yeah. What do you believe in?
What do you believe in?
Jupiter is holding down court here.
Mhm.
When we have this kind of T square in the sky, the planet that is holding court as kind of like the pivot, the center of this opposition, is the one that gets to make the judgment.
Mhm.
And Jupiter is about judgment.
Yeah. And it's funny. On the one hand, yay, it's Jupiter. Jupiter's a benefic. Jupiter ultimately is like, look, these choices, these fights, they can be for the highest good.
Mhm.
And on the other hand, Jupiter is a massive gaseous being, which
Oh,
which
yeah.
can kinda overdo it.
Jupiter is simply going to overdo, exaggerate, expand whatever you believe.
Mhm,
So if you're already in that place of fear and disempowerment or powering over and controlling all of those, that face off energy between Mars and Pluto,
mm,
then guess what? Your dogma, your judgment, your limiting
mhm.
beliefs, Jupiter's going to flame those fires and add
Yeah,
gasoline to it.
yeah. Super important also because Neptune is trining Mars. And Neptune just has this way, right? Neptune is I always think like, if you all haven't seen we'll put this in the show notes. Stevie Nicks the video for Rooms on Fire. Have you seen this video?
No, I need to look that up.
Oh my gosh. Let me just here's the choice lyric from the song. Long nets of white cloud my memories. It's just it's the whole video is very
I didn't light this on fire.
the rooms are on fire, but it's all so dreamy. Yeah. What does that say to you that there's a Neptune trine to Mars?
I absolutely love Neptune trine to Mars. Like, it's
Mm,
one of my favorite aspects. Like,
mm,
when I see it in people natally, when
mhm,
I see it in the sky, because to me, this is devotion through action.
mm. That is a beautiful way to think about it.
Yeah. And so I haven't seen this video of this fire, but I can imagine Stevie Nicks dancing through the
Mhm,
fire.
mhm,
And as she moves her body, it's
mhm.
a devotion to whatever God she's devoting herself to at that moment.
Yeah,
And so,
yeah,
thinking about all of that Taurian earthbound energy and the way, Mars and Pluto asking us to take action and stand up for what we believe for, then
right.
Neptune is dance,
Mhm.
stomp your feet, chant, sing in devotion for what
Yeah,
you want.
yeah. Oh my gosh. If there's any other big Rooms of Fire people out there, there's this other line in the song that is this is the first time I've ever noticed that this is so Neptunian, but she says, "There is magic all around you." There's magic all around you, and I think Neptune also does tap into that a little bit. It's just did we all forget about the superpowers available to us? Did we forget about our creativity? Did we forget about
Mm,
our spirituality? Did we forget about the larger than life, like out there
yes.
power that we have?
Yeah, that is our source, that we are, that is surrounds us, just simply waiting for us to ask.
It's just there.
Just there.
It's just there.
Hmm.
I love it. So, what else do you notice, if anything, about this lunation that feels important?
So Pluto to me is just over the course of May and into June, anytime a planet enters any of our fixed signs,
Mhm,
Leo, Aquarius, Scorpio, and
mhm,
Taurus, or anytime a planet enters an air sign, Libra, Aquarius,
mhm.
Gemini, that Pluto hanging out right there is going to say, die and be reborn. Like, here we
Yeah.
are. So, Pluto holding court at that very beginning degree, and that Taurian energy getting ready to enter Gemini
Mm.
feels like just this big revelation and understanding.
Yeah. The word that was coming to me, and for me, this has actually also been the word of this eclipse season, is regeneration. Uranus now is in the middle of Taurus, and Uranus has been there for a while,
Yep.
still going to be there for a while.
Yep.
But these eclipses finally are can we get this Uranian thing kind of there's a little spark. We're lighting a little bit of fire. We're lighting up that Uranus and Taurus. And not incidentally, the financial collapse all everyone was promising. We were like, "Oh, maybe that's not gonna happen." Actually, right?
Oh
So,
gosh.
not to be doom and gloom, but that was kind of the thought when Uranus came into Taurus, is people were like, "Let's really look at, food systems. Let's look at the financial systems.
Oh yeah.
Let's look at the ways we support ourselves in this world." And of course, we've seen tons of challenges
Yeah.
on that front since Uranus has been here. But you actually taught me this, Leslie, is when we think about revolution, it's not necessarily only a going forward, it can also be a going back, right? So regeneration can be tapping back into what we want. It could be tapping back into our purpose. It can be tapping back into who we were before that job, before that relationship, before that thing happened. So that regeneration and remembering that, like, as we go around and round, every single one of us, we are programmed to regenerate. Like, that is in our cellular structure.
Yes.
And it's in our ability to be on this planet too, in a regenerative way.
I think that's one of the reasons why I love astrology so much
Mm,
is because it shows us all of those different cycles,
mhm.
right? Our annual cycles with the sun,
Yeah.
our daily cycles with the moon, our life cycles with the outer planets. Like all of these reminds us that even when we go back, we're coming back in a different way. We can still update. And thinking about like Uranus and Taurus from a global perspective, not just finances, but also about rematriating the land and
Mm,
caring for the land and
mhm,
restoring old ways of like land conservation, like
mhm,
indigenous knowledge and wisdom. And it also is about resources as commerce. And
mm.
I think, at least as I see it going forward over the next few years, we're going to be seeing commerce really changing a lot to like energy, like just like the power that powers us.
The power that powers us. I mean, we've noticed if you're following what's the Russia's war on Ukraine, energy is a huge part of that.
Yeah. And like the domestic attacks on like energy grids and things like that.
Mhm,
We don't need to go like deep, dark gloom and doom, but these are some of the things that as like Uranus is finishing up in Taurus, as Pluto vacillates between Capricorn and Aquarius over the next couple of years, we're going to see more and more of that. But we need to go through
mhm.
this.
Yes, totally. So, as above, so below, as on the planet, so in you. I
Mm,
think for me, the question here is like, what do you want to revive and regenerate? Like, it's time. You know, it's time. It's been time.
yes.
It's been time. So, what is that for you? And then what's the first step? What's the first step toward that?
Well, if we ask the first step with this Taurus new moon, it's starting with your body.
Yeah. See how our questions went in a nice little circle there? I always
Thank
like
you for
it.
bringing us back, Natalie.
I love it. I love it so much. Okay, so this is actually there's a ton of power in it, but I love this. I love this new moon.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
It feels wonderful. It feels like it doesn't have to be scary with that Mars and Pluto. Like, of course, as we get up to this new moon and the following days, like when you're out on the road, be aware
Mhm,
because there's going to be rageaholics that are triggered by this, and that is
mhm,
not you.
mhm,
So just be
mhm,
conscious, aware, keep your eyes open.
mhm.
Yeah.
And honestly, stay home.
Yeah.
Like like like, stay home. Make yourself just the fluffiest little nest with the nicest mugs and buy some fancy detergent to wash your towels in. Like,
Yes.
yeah, like, that's okay.
And cheese. I'm going to buy
That's
cheese.
okay. Yeah, and cheese, yeah, yeah. Okay, good, good. I mean, really, like, what I just said is kind of like an answer to any moment, so just bookmark that.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Wasn't that conversation just absolutely amazing? It is so fun to talk with astrology with a soul sister like Natalie. Both she and I absolutely love leadership and personal development. We love talking about businesses and we love talking with change makers. So just to be able to have a conversation around astrology and business and leadership and change making, it just absolutely lights me up. So I hope you enjoyed that conversation as much as I had having it with Natalie. So let's talk a little bit now about personalizing this new moon intention. So, whatever you're looking to create more of in terms of your Taurus themes and values and abundance and profitability accountability and measuring what is important to you, let's take a look in your life and your business by house on where you need to bring in a fresh intention. Remember that the house that contains the degree of the new moon is the house that is being activated, the house that is asking for fresh clarification. And if you use new moon intentions and rituals throughout the year, just like holistic intention setting, you'll be able to create 12 intentions around each aspect of your life and your work. So let's take a look. So remember, with this Taurus new moon, you have to prove your value by committing to your own truth. What I mean by your own truth is, what do you value and how will you remain loyal to what you value, not just by wishing for it, but by committing to it, taking action on it, and cultivating what you already desire in your life so you can even receive more of that. Remember, value is not only just monetary, doesn't only just have monetary significance like capitalism would like you to believe. Value is something that holds importance or worth to you. And this new moon is really going to have you prove your worth by justifying your behaviors and values, by making sure you are doing everything that you can do and measuring what you are supposed to measure. So, for your new moon, I invite you to plant the seeds to manifest abundant value and sustainable growth in your life, your brand, your business, and your leadership. Okay, so let's go through these house activations, remembering that this comes always back to abundant value and sustainable growth, especially with Jupiter spending its time in Taurus over the next 12 months. So if you're an Aries rising or happen to have 28 degrees of Taurus in your second house, you are going to be planting the seeds in your work's results and promises of transformation that elevate your value. If you're a Taurus or happen to have that Taurus of 28 degrees in the first house, you are planting the seeds in your work's luscious brand identity and prosperity building leadership. That's right, how you do what you do. If you're a Gemini or have that 28 degrees of Taurus in the 12th house, this is your time to plant those seeds in your work's charitable opportunities so that others may also feel stable and secure. If you're a Cancer or have this 28 degrees of Taurus in your 11th house, here you're planting the seeds for your soul communities and social impact built around equitable, sustainable, and environmental values. Thank you, Taurus. All right. So if you are a Leo or have your 28 degrees of Taurus in your 10th house, you are planting the seeds for abundant value and sustainable growth in your work's recognized expertise and ultimate mission so that you can deliver feel good wealth, luxury, and beauty. If you're a Virgo or have that 28 degrees of Taurus in your ninth house, it's time to plant your seeds with a fresh intention to manifest abundant value and sustainable growth in your work's purpose and philosophy to expand sustainable, holistic growth and wealth through health. That's right. Health, prosperity, wealth is health. Health is wealth. All right. If you're a Libra or have 28 degrees of Taurus in that eighth house, you are planting your seeds for a fresh, abundant intention for sustainable growth in your work's sustainable investment strategy and leveraging of other people's resources for shared prosperity. I love this idea of long-term investments. Invest in others or get people to invest in you. If you have Scorpio or a seventh house activation, if 28 degrees of Taurus is in your seventh house, you're planting the seeds to manifest abundant value and sustainable growth in your work's loyal partnerships and collaborations built with trusting, long-term win-win relationships. Yes, I absolutely love that for you. Now, if you're a Sagittarius or you have that Taurus 28 degrees in the sixth house, you are planting the seeds for regenerative day to day rituals, operations, routines, automations, everything that you can do to streamline your work that enables profitability and ease. Now, again, profitability isn't just about money. You're measuring and increasing whatever you value. All right, if you're a Capricorn and you have that 28 degrees of Taurus in your fifth house, this intention is about planting the seeds for fun, tactile and creative passion projects that balance your hard play with your hard work. Balance your play hard with your work hard, right? I know you, Capricorn, you know how to work hard, but you're not adding any value or abundance if you're not also playing and having fun hard. All right. If you're Aquarius or you have that 28 degrees of Taurus activating your fourth house, you are planting the seeds for abundant value and sustainable growth in those private inner areas, your home base, your inner circle, your private communities, so that you can grow and build intergenerational, secure, peaceful abundance. Lastly, if you're a Pisces or you have that third house being activated by 28 degrees of Taurus, here you are planting the seeds of a fresh intention to manifest abundant value and sustainable growth in your leadership's voice and messaging that expresses and teaches and shares your most peaceful, plentiful, and steady outcomes. Ah, isn't that so beautiful? There is so much beauty in this Taurus new moon with that Taurus stellium and that somewhat prickly T square that is simply asking you to prove your worth. Remember, profitability isn't just about money, but it's about increasing what is valuable to you. All right, so let's take a look. There's just a couple of questions because I posted this. I posted the post in Facebook asking about questions pretty late in the day, so I know a lot of people didn't see it. But we have two questions: one from Michelle Price and one from Monica McNeil Bodie. So Michelle asks, "How can we think about our own moon sign as it's in relationship with the new moon?" And I found that question really fascinating because I forget to really apply that our own moon sign when we're relating to that new moon. I'm so curious about the new moon and how it's activating and showing up in different areas in our chart by the house sign that I forget to really talk about our moon sign. But remember, our moon sign, your natal moon sign, whether you have a Leo moon or an Aries moon or a Cancer moon or a Pisces moon, whatever your moon sign is, your moon sign is your gatekeeper to aligned action because your moon sign shows you what you need to accept within yourself and to create emotional security. If your moon sign does not feel secure, you're going to be you're going to be taking action on things based on fear, or you're not going to be taking action at all. So your moon sign always has a role in everything that you do, from new moon intentions to whatever you're doing in your life and work. So always coming to that root of your moon sign. In my paid community, Star Powered Circle, we've been really working with our moon signs and cultivating a checklist, an emotional safety checklist based on our own moon signs, so that we can ensure that all of these things, sometimes there's 4 things, sometimes there's 8 things, depending on how complicated your moon sign is, about what needs to be satisfied in order for you to take action. So if you're a fire moon, having that kind of passion and ability to go after what you want and spark things and independence is going to be something that's at the basis of whether you feel emotionally safe. If you're a water sign, having boundaries and having emotional safety, being able to express your emotions are some of your needs that are going to allow you to take action on your intentions. If you're an earth sign, being pragmatic and practical, making sure that you're building something that lasts is going to have an impact for you on creating your intentions. And lastly, if you're an air sign, being heard and understood and being able to share your thoughts and your ideas are going to be paramount for you to take aligned action and prove your worth in this upcoming new moon. All right, thanks, Michelle, for asking that question in that way. It just kind of turns things a different perspective on things. And then Monica asks, I read somewhere that there are multiple planets in Taurus with this new moon. How does this affect our understanding of how this will impact us individually in general and specifically in respect to the planets involved? Whew, yes, that's a deep question. And so we have this Taurus stellium. From earliest Taurus to late Taurus, we have Jupiter at 0 degrees of Taurus. We have the North Node at 3 degrees of Taurus. We have Mercury at 6 degrees of Taurus. We have Uranus at 19 degrees of Taurus. And we have the moon and the sun at 28 degrees of Taurus. So we have planets from the very earliest degrees to the very latest degrees all through Taurus. Jupiter plays a very prominent role in this just simply because it's holding court, and it's balancing out the opposition between Mars and Pluto, which are really asking you to take action on what is going to have the most impact. And Jupiter is saying, hey, can we take sustainable growth on this? Do you believe this is going to happen? Are you optimistic and grateful for all of your learning lessons? So Jupiter in Taurus is saying, go big, but make sure this is sustainably big and making sure that you can take action and prove your worth. That North Node is now asking, hey, this is our soul potential here. How can you contribute through your own unique values to the collective evolution? I know that's a little bit woo, but I totally believe that you completely understand where I'm coming from, Monica. So when we think about that North Node in Taurus and that collective potential for all of us, it really comes back to taking care of the Mother Earth environmentally, sustainably, and really being a really good steward to the resources on Mother Earth. And so if we are running our businesses that are not stewarding the resources of Mother Earth in an equitable fashion, then we are not here contributing to that path of the collective consciousness. Mercury, of course, is saying, speak up, use your voice for what is important. Uranus is saying, make change and liberate yourself from conformity. And then, of course, the moon and the sun, this is why we're having our conversation today, is saying, what do you want to plant? What has shifted? What do you need to change? What do you need to freshen up in your Taurian values and ideals in what you want to grow and create profitability on? Again, reminder, profitability isn't just about money. It's about increasing and growing what you value. And increasing and growing what you value means that you have to be open and dedicated to cultivating it in your life and in the lives of others, but also cultivating your ability to open your heart and receive. Whew, that was good. Thanks, Monica, for asking. All right, friends. So if you have questions, you want me to answer them in this podcast, head on over to my free Facebook group and go ahead and ask your questions there in the Star Powered podcast. If you catch my emails, remember that I have 2 wait lists going on right now. One for my luxurious retreat coming up in October, and one for Q3 of Star Powered Circle, where we'll be going over your Star Powered style, everything that you need to know to make your mark with your change making work in this world. All right, so both of those wait lists are open. Head on over to starpowered.com/eclipse to get up on that eclipse wait list, the retreat wait list, and head on over to starpowered.com/circle to get on that wait list for when the doors open again for Star Powered Circle in just a few weeks. I'll be opening up the eclipse wait list at the very end of May, and then the other for Star Powered Circle, that the doors will open right around solstice for just a few days. All right, my friends, such a joy. And head on over to Natalie Miller's Mind Witchery if you are so called. She is absolutely amazing. I know you'll love it. All right, talk to y'all soon. Bye. As a human design projector, my energy shines more brightly because of people like you who share my work. If you enjoy this podcast and want to help build a movement of innovative astrology and leadership and spark the intuitive revolution, please rate and review this podcast on Apple Podcasts, or better yet, share this podcast with your change-making besties. We will all shine brighter together as we create the future we want to see.